Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Ben Cole, and I'm an executive editor for the Tech Target editorial team. In this session, I'll be joined by Matthew Pinkovi from Amadeus, and we'll discuss the value of travel data and how to unlock its potential with self-service APIs. In 2023, revenue in the travel and tourism industry is projected to reach an impressive $854 billion. It's fair to say the travel sector is quickly becoming one of the most dynamic and competitive. As the industry continues to grow, can APIs help us manage the data that comes out of it? To get a handle on this, I'm joined by Matthew Pinkovi from Amadeus. Thanks for joining me today, Matt.
Thanks, Ben. Hi, everyone.
Tell us a little bit about your background and your take on these API trends I mentioned.
I'm Matt from Amadeus for Developers. I work on customer success as part of the developer relations team. My role in a nutshell is to make sure our users are successful as possible in their projects. So I speak to our customers on a daily basis on the question, how can I make money in my app? Is definitely one of the common ones we receive. But before explaining how newcomers can make money in the travel industry, let me give you a little bit more context into the overall travel ecosystem on Amadeus. And you touched it earlier, $854 billion. This is the projected revenue for travel and tourism in 2023. So imagine the economic opportunity it presents. The travel and tourism sector is a dynamic and competitive field, which is continuously evolving. And as the world becomes more and more connected, especially after the standstill during the pandemic, the demand for travel-related services will continue to grow, making it essential for businesses to stay ahead of the curve if they want to be successful in this space. And with a comprehensive portfolio of products and services, Amadeus is at the forefront of this innovation. We are a market leader in our industry, providing IT services touching all different travel segments, including flights, hotels, cruise, rail, car and transfer, payments, insurances, and many, many more. Just to give you an idea of our size, in 2018, we boarded 1.8 billion passengers on our system. And in the same year, we have processed over 640 million bookings. But that was right before COVID, the most disruptive event our industry has ever faced. Since then, we have quickly recovered. Now at peak, we generate more than 100,000 transactions. We've also been present in more than 190 countries, and we have been included in a Forbes list of top IT companies. Our solutions cover every aspect of the traveler's journey, from inspiration and planning stages, all the way to booking, on-trip activities, and everything that happens post-trip, which can help travel sellers in each step of the traveler's journey. And one of the many ways we do that is through our tailored API offers, each meeting different needs. On one side, you have the self-service catalog, which are open APIs. These are all based on REST-JSON technology and accessible in a few minutes. Our catalog includes the categories travel safety, flights, car and transfers, hotel, destination experience, itinerary management, and market insights. And then on the other side, you will have our enterprise offerings, which include the full catalog of Amadeus APIs with both REST-JSON and sub-XML technology. These are generally used by some of the biggest names in the industries and companies that needs to scale up. And the access here is only given on a request basis. Customers will receive 24/7 support from a dedicated account manager on custom pricing package based on their specific needs. In this presentation, we will specifically focus on how startups and newcomers in the industry can monetize our self-service APIs. So as you listen to this presentation, we strongly encourage you to reflect on your business's unique needs and consider how Amadeus self-service APIs can help you unlock new revenue opportunities in the travel sector. But before we start, let's look at some of our most popular APIs on how they can be applied to generate value. First of all, the Flight Offer Search API. So this API allows you to build the flight search functionality you see on most flight booking engines, where users can search flights from an origin city, a destination, on a travel date. It will return a comprehensive list of available flights, including details such as the airline, the flight number, the departure and arrival time, and as well, of course, the prices. This is the first step to integrate flight booking, which is one of the most common ways for travel agents to make money. Then you have our on-demand flight status API, great API to get the latest information on a given flight, such as all the flight schedules, the gate, the terminal, and even real-time delay information. This feature allows travel sellers to be informed for any changes on a particular trip, and it's also good to keep the end traveler informed and notified of changes in their bookings. Then we have hotel lists. This API allows users to find specific hotels in a location. It's also the first step to integrate hotel booking. So the API will return an hotel ID, which you can then use to confirm the latest price, availability, as well as completing the booking with third endpoint. With our self-service APIs, you can book and search from 150,000 hotels worldwide. Another very popular API is point of interest. So this one allows users to discover points of interest such as tourist attractions, nightlife, restaurants, and landmarks in various cities. It helps create engaging and informative travel experiences for users, enhancing the overall value of your application. This feature has many different use cases, so you could use it to help travelers plan their trip, but also for on-trip activities. We have other APIs as well that complement this very well by offering the possibility to book tours and attractions in specific locations. And last but not least, we have flight cheapest date search. This API retrieves the cheapest date to travel from an origin to a destination. This information can help businesses tailor their offerings and marketing strategies by providing information on when is the most beneficial time to travel. But in order to successfully monetize the self-service APIs, it's important to follow a well-defined strategy that focuses on delivering value to your end users. So in the next slide, I will outline 6 key steps that businesses can take to get started and maximize their business potential. One of the first things you need to do is to create a business plan. So here you need to think about developing a value proposition. As explained, effectively monetizing your app involves creating value for your target audience. So for this, you can leverage on the self-service APIs to offer features like personalized travel recommendations, real-time flight updates, or a seamless hotel booking integration, which will help you set your applications apart from competitors. So before we start, we recommend you familiarize yourself with the various APIs available with the Amadeus self-service framework to see how they can be tailored in your application to deliver as much value as possible. As part of this, you also need to identify your target audience. So understanding your target audience is vital for any business success. Consider things like demographics, preferences, and travel habits when you're designing your app. This information will help you create more targeted user experience and increase the likelihood of user engagement. It's also a good idea to create some user personas at this stage, so they will help you convey the right message to the right audience at the right time, but they will be very helpful later down the line to perform things like market research, targeted advertising, and usability testing. Once you know your audience, try to identify your customers' main pain points, identify all the benefits of your product, and link these benefits to your customers' problems. And if you need help with this, you may consider joining a business incubator. Many will offer support right from the ideation phase and can offer help in creating your business plan, get access to additional support, networking, and financing throughout your business lifecycle. The second step will be to choose the right monetization model that will meet your needs. We will touch on this later on in this presentation, but popular models include subscription, pay-per-use, advertising, and affiliate models. You can, of course, combine multiple models to create a hybrid approach that will maximize your revenue potential. But before you even think about monetization models, try to identify the actual value of your service. So for this, you'll need to conduct some market research, find out how much your competitors are charging, and try to look for some feedback from potential customers. The step number 3 will be to optimize your user experience. So a seamless and engaging user experience is critical. Focus on designing an intuitive interface, ensure that your application is easy to navigate and visually appealing. You can optimize your application for speed and performance and try to minimize load times to keep your users engaged. In my opinion, once you have figured out how to monetize your app and that your concept works, a lot of your effort should be spent on improving your product. As I mentioned, the travel sector is very competitive and consumers are becoming pickier and pickier. So you always want to stay on top of the game. Consider new emerging trends like sustainable travel, personalized recommendations, and an end-to-end experience covering all different aspects of the travel lifecycle. Then, of course, you need to think about marketing your application and start building your community. Make use of social media, content marketing, and public relations to create awareness about your application's unique features. User testimonials and case studies are also a good way here to establish credibility and showcase the value your application provides. And as I mentioned, you need to start thinking about building a community. This will be very difficult to do if you're just getting started, but it's beneficial. Your community will become your first customer base, and it will help you drive user engagement and increase user loyalty. So try to encourage your customers to provide feedback, share their experiences, and interact with other users within your app. You can also events, webinars, or contests to try to engage with your community. It will help you maintain a strong brand presence and a sense of connection. Newsletters are also very effective here to build communities, and there's many tools online that will allow you to get started with your newsletter right away. So this will help you in many different ways. Firstly, it's a good way to stay close to your audience, share your content and promotions, but it will also increase awareness of your product and potentially drive up your app's adoption. The fifth step is to, of course, iterate and improve. So here you want to track and analyze your application's key metrics, such as user acquisition, engagement, conversion rates, and revenue. You should use some analytic tools that will allow you to gain insights into your users' behavior and preferences, allowing you to optimize your app and monetization strategy accordingly. So based on this data analysis, continually iterate and improve your app to better meet your users' needs and preferences. Of course, it's also key to consider new features and updates and bug fixes to encourage long-term engagement. And last but not least, step number 6, you may want to consider collaborating with other businesses in the travel industry. This will help you expand your application's reach and monetization potential. So forge partnerships with airlines, hotels, consolidators to offer negotiated rates or other promotions within your app. This will help you pass down the savings to your end users and become more competitive, or you could charge a higher markup and generate more revenues. These partnerships can also help you drive up user acquisition, as you will benefit from your partner's network or expand in new markets. If you're starting a travel agency, you can also leverage on an airline consolidator's experience to issue tickets while you're applying for your travel agency license. Or you could also partner up with them to get access to negotiated rates, which will help you as well to generate revenue. So in conclusion, in order to successfully monetize the self-service APIs, you will need to first have a good understanding of the API offering, a clear business plan with having identified your target audience, developed the value proposition, then choose the right monetizations model for you, optimize your user experience, additionally focus on marketing your application and start building a community. Then continue to iterate and improve based on your data analysis, on your feedback, and finally consider partnering with other businesses to ensure long-term success with your venture. Now, let's look at some of the most common monetizations models for startups to follow: subscription, pay-per-use, advertising, and affiliate models. I will provide an example of each of these models so you can get a better understanding on how they can be applied to your business. Starting with the subscription model. Here, users pay a recurring fee for access to premium features or content within your app. This model helps generate revenue and can be particularly effective when your app offers services that your users will regularly engage with over time. So for example, you could create the travel planner applications that will provide personalized itineraries and exclusive discounts. You could offer a free basic version for free with limited features. Your users will only get access to a limited number of discounts, while your premium subscribers can get the full features like tailored travel recommendations and offline access. As a drawback of the subscription model, it can also deter potential users due to the commitments. So some users might be hesitant to sign up for long subscriptions, especially if they are unsure about the value provided by the app. It can be difficult to adopt if you're just getting started. Until you have a solid brand and community behind you, it will be hard to convince people to buy a subscription. In addition, there's also a churn risk here if the value is not continuously delivered. Users may unsubscribe if they feel like the value provided by the app is not worth the subscription costs, resulting in lost revenues. The second model is the pay-per-use model. This allows customers to pay for exactly what they need, making it an attractive option for occasional users that don't want to commit to a long subscription. So for example, here, you could create a flight booking application that charges users a small fee for using the app, or by adding a markup on the bookings made. This model works very well for travel agencies that have access to negotiated rates. The cheaper rates will allow them to be more competitive or to increase their revenues by increasing the markup. As a drawback, the revenues will be very hard to predict as they can fluctuate based on your usage. In addition, this model is not suitable for apps that are used very frequently by their end users, as they will have to pay each time they're using the application. On the third monetization model, advertising. So here you display ads within your application, generating revenue from ad impressions, clicks, or conversions. This model can be profitable if your application has a high volume of visitors. And in contrast to the pay-per-use model, this also reduces the barriers to entry for your end users. If you go for the advertising model, you also need to know your target audience very well. So not every culture will respond to ads in the same way. So you need to consider that in your choice of design on user interface. In my opinion, ads are not always bad. If you can get some relevant content for your audience, they won't necessarily mind. So how could you apply this model? You can, for example, develop a travel guide application that offers free access to information about points of interest, local attractions, and events in various cities. You can generate revenue by partnering with advertisers who want to reach your target audience and display their ads within your app as banners, sponsor listings, or native ads. As a drawback, however, high user traffic is necessary in order to generate substantial ad revenue, which can be challenging again for new applications. And in some cases, the ads could also negatively impact the user experience if they're too intrusive. And of course, the growing use of ad blockers can also impact this as a revenue stream as well. Then you have the affiliate model. The affiliate model involves partnering with travel sellers such as hotels, online travel agencies, or online airlines to earn a commission each time you refer them a customer. You will see this applied on many meta search engines, and it is very lucrative if you can drive a significant volume of bookings. But I personally love this model because it will reduce the effort spent on customer support and billing, which makes it perfect if you're a small team. So for example, you could build a hotel comparison application that will allow your users to search and compare different hotel offers. You can partner with various hotel chains and online travel agencies and earn a commission each time one of your users books through one of the affiliate links. As a drawback, the affiliate model also depends on the booking volume to generate revenue. To be successful, you will need to work on constantly bringing new users. And it also requires strategic partnerships and trust from the affiliates, which will require a lot of work if you're getting started. But when you're thinking about all the different monetization models, it's also important to mention that you can combine multiple models to create a hybrid approach. This will maximize your revenue potential. But ultimately, this choice should stem from having analyzed your target audience, your value proposition, as well as your overall business strategies and the resources you have available. Keep in mind that if you're just getting started, it's going to be very hard to convince someone to sign up for a long subscription. Or if you decide to go for a pay-per-use model, you will have to be ready to spend more effort on customer support. Now, let's look at some successful use cases that have used Amadeus self-service APIs to deliver value to their end users. Starting with the Oasis travel platform. This is a tour operating software designed to provide comprehensive solutions for travel agents. This startup offers a range of services, including itinerary building, CRM tracking, and financial management capabilities. And by utilizing the self-service APIs, Oasis Travel Platform can integrate on-demand flight status updates directly into its offerings, providing travel agents with the latest and most accurate flight information. In order to monetize, Oasis Travel Platform employs a subscription-based pricing model. So their users have access to different pricing tiers, with each tier offering varying range of features and capabilities. This strategy allows them to provide the value that their customers need. The travel agents can choose the subscription plan that best suits their needs. And by offering different pricing tiers, Oasis Travel Platform can generate a steady revenue stream and encourage user loyalty. The next successful use case is BagID. So this is a startup that has effectively used Amadeus self-service APIs to create a profitable business. They offer electronic luggage tags that can be attached to a traveler's luggage. And these tags will provide real-time tracking capabilities, but also send notifications on the user's phone regarding any changes on the flight and the status of their luggage. By leveraging the self-service APIs, BagID can offer its customers up-to-date information on their luggage, helping them to feel more secure and confident during their travels. Furthermore, BagID has partnered with selected airlines to facilitate the check-in process for their end users, making it more convenient for the travelers that are using their electronic tags. This partnership enhances the overall value proposition they offer and it also creates a more seamless travel experience for their users. To monetize its offering, BagID employs two different models. So in one of them, they will sell the electronic tags directly to their customers. And secondly, they also provide a subscription service that will provide users with additional features on functionalities, which adds further value to their products. So in conclusion, leveraging the self-service APIs offers lucrative opportunities to generate revenue. By understanding the travel industry and creating innovative apps that add value, businesses can maximize their profit and achieve long-term success. Throughout this presentation, we have discussed the various steps to successfully monetize the self-service APIs, from identifying your target audience and developing a value proposition to choosing the right monetization model. We have also explored the importance of optimizing user experience, marketing your application, building a community, and partnering with other businesses. The case studies of Oasis Travel Platform and BagID showcase the potential of harnessing Amadeus self-service APIs to create a profitable business. And these examples highlight the power of understanding the travel industry, creative, innovative solutions that cater to the customer needs, and how to effectively monetize your applications. And finally, as you move forward in developing your own application, remember to keep the needs of your target audience in mind and continuously improve your offering to stay competitive. By doing so, you can unlock the potential of Amadeus self-service APIs to generate revenue for your business and achieve long-term success. So now let's have a look at the Amadeus for Developers portal so you can find all the resources you need to get started with your travel application. As mentioned earlier, we have two different frameworks available, each meeting different needs. So first of all, the self-service framework, which is used by startups and innovators that want to have something up and running quickly in the travel industry. And then you have the enterprise APIs, which are used by some of the bigger names in the industry on companies that need to scale up. Going back to our homepage, you will see we have two get started guides, so one for a self-service and enterprise. If we click on the self-service Get Started Guide, you will have all the instructions you need to first create your account, find your API key, and make your first API call. We also offer some YouTube tutorials that will explain to you how you can start. And we also have some other tutorials explaining some how to integrate some of our APIs and some other information on the general travel industry. If you go on the registration page, you can see that it's very easy. We don't ask a lot of information. You can create an account in a few minutes to get test access and then move to production with our pay-as-you-go system. But for this demo, let me just log into my account. Okay, so now imagine I am a startup that wants to start a project in travel. For simplicity, I'm going to focus on one city. So I want to build a travel recommendation application that will show me all the different places I can fly to from a single city. I know that Amadeus offers a lot of flight APIs. So let's have a look at what they have in the catalog. Flight inspiration sounds like what I want to get some flight recommendations. So let's try the flight inspiration search API. On the first section, you will see a description of what the API does. So in this case, it helps travelers discover the next destination by finding the cheapest flights and destination from a specific city. This API answers the question, what are the cheapest places to fly to from Boston in this case? It sounds like what I need. So if we scroll down, you can click on the Go to API Reference and Examples button, and this will take you directly on our Swagger, where you will see all the different parameters available. And if you scroll at the bottom, you will also have access to a response sample. You can even get access to the data model to check definitions on all the specific values that are returned and get more information on the API response. But what's very nice with this UI is that you can test the APIs directly on the portal. So in this case, I want to search for flights, let's say from Madrid, and I want to depart on the 1st of July. I have many different parameters available to further filter my query, but let's just try this for this example. Here, I'm calling directly our test environment. And as you can see, the API found a flight from Madrid to Porto, leaving on the 1st of July for 130 euros. So this is targeting our test environment, so you're not going to get the latest information. But you've seen how easy it is. In one API call, I can already have something up and running, which will help me to either integrate it in my app to add further value, or I could use this information in things like a newsletter to add further value to my content. But now let's look at some other cool stuff. So Amadeus for Developers also creates some ready-made prototypes that you can directly download and use within your application. So if you go to our documentation portal, you will see we have many different API tutorials available. We also have some SDKs on code samples. But what I'm interested in here is the prototypes. So you can see a list of our official prototypes. The first one for flight booking. So it will use all our flight API that are used for flight booking, as well as the airport and city search for my search bar autocompletes on the travel restriction API. Built in Django and Python, so it sounds like what I want. Let's have a look. I can basically access all the prototype information directly on GitHub. So here you will see all the details on how to install the app, on how to run it. But what's very nice is the app is also hosted, so I can play with it without writing a single line of code. So imagine that I have my newsletter. So now I found some specific flights to Madrid, but I'm now ready to offer directly the flight booking capabilities. So this is how easy it is. I can find flights from Madrid to, let's say, Barcelona, and I want to leave on the 1st of July. This API will return first a list of available flight offers. I can see all the different flights available on the 1st of July, and I also have some information on travel restrictions. And I can directly book I can directly book the flight from this button. As I mentioned, this is the test environment. If I wanted to move to production, all I would have to do is move my app to production, so provide some payment method. And because I'm not a travel agent, I would need to sign a contract with an aligned consolidator. But just like that, with a few API calls on the contract sign, I can already have a live booking flight application. So that's it. Here you have it. We've explored some of the most common monetization models, all the steps required to get started in travel. So I hope you found this information informative. And if you have any further questions, please do get in touch with us. We'll be happy to answer any of your questions.
Great. Thank you, Matt. That was an excellent presentation. A lot of great information for our audience. We do have time for some quick follow-up questions we can go through here. The first one we had was, Matt, what are some of the key performance indicators companies should consider when measuring API success, especially for those startups that want to scale up their API efforts?
I would say this really depends on the current stage of development and growth you're in. So the first thing you'd have to do is first do some research into your industry and pick some relevant KPIs that will allow you to benchmark yourself with some competitors. But of course, there's some relevant ones that are relevant in all projects. So in my opinion, I would look at things like unique visitors, active users, churn rates, of course, revenue growth, on customer acquisition costs. So you can get a rough idea of the revenue you're generating, the costs, on what your customer funnel looks like. But to add to that, I would say it's very important as well to not track too many KPIs, as it becomes quickly counterproductive. 4 to 6 KPIs is probably the best, and you'll be able to focus on the right information.
Great. What are some of the specific customer pain points that might be offset by API implementation, and why and how can companies do that?
That's a very good question. Actually, Postman released a report last year called the State of the API Report. And they've surveyed many developers, and around 50% have responded to this question, highlighting the lack of documentation as the biggest obstacle to API integration. And I actually completely agree with that. Imagine buying a kitchen from IKEA. If it doesn't come with an instruction manual, no one would do it, right? So it's the same here. The documentation is really key for any developer. You want to see what the API does before you sign any contract or spend any money. And to add to that, I would say, in my opinion, the lack of self-service capabilities on the developer portal is also a big blocker. So many people don't want to have to contact support for basic features. So it's important that developers can do everything in one place without having to contact anyone.
Excellent. And specific to the travel industry, what are some common ways agents can tap into these self-service APIs to make money?
Well, traditionally, most travel agencies make money by selling tickets, right? So adding a markup on the price of the ticket. So it's very simple. You're looking for a flight from Paris to New York. If it costs 500 euros, the travel agent will sell it for 550 and keep the difference. But this is slowly changing. Now, many travel sellers are making money by upselling other services such as car transfers, extra luggage, or consultation services. And actually, in the self-service framework, we have an API called Branded Fare Upsell that will allow you to just do that. So you can sell fare families to your end users to add even further value to your service. So I would say if everyone wants to sell tickets using the self-service APIs, I would advise them to first focus on really adding value to their customers rather than just selling expensive tickets. And once they start to have traction on the big following, you can think about getting access to negotiated rates and work with that in order to generate even more revenues.
And you mentioned that when partnering on APIs that partnering on strategic processes and trust is going to be very important. How can companies build that when they're building these partnerships? Like, what's the best way to get started on that?
So the best way to get started, I would say, is to work on a proof of concept or an MVP. You don't even need to have a fully functional app these days to even raise capital, right? So as long as you have a solid concept and you can start to pitch to investors or other companies in the travel industry, you already have a starting point. But additionally, we can help you with that. So we're in contact. We're really in the middle of the travel industry. So if you want to partner with, for example, an airline consolidator, we can refer you the best contact according to your market on your specific needs. So that's another service that we're here for.
Great. Last question I had for you. What are your final thoughts on API monetization? What do you want the audience to take away from your presentation today?
Sure. My final thoughts actually would be it's not just about making revenue, right? So API monetization will start at the very beginning, the idea phase. You really want to add value to your end users. And there's many successful businesses right now, I want to say, that don't necessarily make profit, right? But they add tremendous value to their customers. So I would say start by doing that. And once you have a valuable product, you will build a community. And then you can look at the different monetization strategies and play with that. And the last thing as well, don't be afraid to change, right? So explore different models. If you see that your business evolves into something that you didn't necessarily plan, then adapt your monetization models accordingly.
Great. Again, thank you so much, Matt, for the great presentation. But that's all the time we have for today. And I want to thank everyone for watching. We hope you found it useful. Please be sure to check out the attachment sections where you can find your links to download further resources. And thank you and have a great day.
Thanks, Ben.